Right, I've got a bit of a horizon line, some rocks, a little bit of a tree, some dunes. This is all dunes and grasses, so I'm going to be doing a dune and grass and rock and sea and sky, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm just mixing up a bit of a dark, put some purple in it, some ultramarine blue and some umber. Sorry, I had to, yeah. Okay, that's for the rocks. And I'm just using my old bristle brush just for the lay-in. Bit more ultramarine blue. You want to vary your washes. As it goes up the bank, it become a bit lighter. So I'm putting a bit of raw umber in. A little bit more purple and some raw umber. A bit more water. Ultramarine blue. A bit more water. Wanted a little bit bluer. There we go. A blue-grey there. Now I'm going to add more water to it, lighten it off a bit as we come forward. I'm going to put in sort of where the, okay, just doing some of the grasses. I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre. I'm going to use some titanium, it's sort of a Naples Yellow actually, which is a bit yellowy. We could add a bit of umber into it and a bit of the ultramarine blue just to see how it greyed it down a bit. So, and I want quite a wet wash. So I want these washes, these are just the under washes, and I want them to blend. So this is going to be in shadow, and I wanted a little bit more purple, but not quite that purple. Blue, a bit more blue. There, that's lovely. See how there's all different colours in there now, which is really what we want. And then I'm just going to add more water, just wipe this across there. A bit more water, but a bit less. Like I put more water in it to make it lighter, but I took some of the water out as well. I want to come this side with some of this warmer colour. That warmer colour is going to go through here, across the top. And then this is all warm, where the sunshine is hitting up into, there's a bit of a, that's going to be more grasses. Put them in there. This is shadow. So as you can see, I'm just laying in the light and the dark. I'm not worrying too much about how they meet up. Like, you know, their edges and stuff. This is going to be a tree, so I might just wondering where I want the top of the tree. I think that the tree will come down there like that. And obviously I can glaze some green into it a bit later. Okay, the sky is just going to be a bit of cobalt blue, a bit darker here. Just encourage it over the, might just pull it over that too. let it pool there, add a little bit more water as I come across. Bit more water, dab it off, so it's sort of pale. And the sky's literally that, because there's so much busy stuff going on here. I don't need clouds and things happening in the sky. The water's a little darker, maybe a little greener, a bit of cobalt, a bit of Viridian green. Be a little bit careful, I don't want it to run into the rock. I think this is pretty much dried off. Just as I come around there. It can run into the tree though, that's not a problem. And I don't need to worry too much about anything happening there. It has bled into the sky, we'll just let it go. Okay, that's the first layer. Wash out my brushes. I'm going to dry this now, and then we're going to come back in and work on top. Okay, this is dry now and it's looking quite nice. I quite like this lighter shade against the darker shade. The dark patch here, this is going to be a tree, so it will become darker. And then I like the tones, the values that are going on here. That worked nice. Don't need any more than that in the sky. So now we're going to go back in with a few deep darker washes. So I'm just mixing up some ultramarine blue, some burnt umber. And I'm going to put a little bit into the tree here. But I do want him to be a little bit green, so I'm going to get a little bit of Viridian, which is a colour I do like, and mix it with a bit of yellow ochre. And you see it makes a lovely sort of olive green, I would say. So I'm just going to put some olive green here. Bring it down there, just let those colours. And I'm going to get some ultramarine blue, a bit of purple. That purple's really wild. I think if you know me, you've met the purple before. It's a dioxazine. Just a little bit of differentiation, it will bleed out nicely. Right, now I'm going to make this a little bit darker. Just feel it could be a little bit darker. So it's the same colour mixes. That's going up a hill. Bit of water. So we're just sort of glazing this. Run it into the tree. I'm going to clean the brush with some water, a bit more umber, maybe a bit more blue, make it a little darker, because these are sort of in silhouette, so I do want them to feel a little darker. And then just a little bit more water. I sort of like painting in layers because you get things showing through, and as long as you don't pick up the underneath too much, you're fine. Okay, I'm going to make the colour. I'm going to make a nice olivey colour for my grasses. So a bit of Viridian, a bit of yellow ochre, and they're going to come in here. And I'm sort of plopping them in vertically because that's really what you want. You want that vertical feel. Might get a little bit of umber, ultramarine blue, bit of purple, umber. mix and put it into the dark side, a bit more blue I think, into the dark side of the seagrasses. Okay, now the sandbank is coming in front, so I do want that little edge there. And then we can just wash it away there, just soften it off. Soften that edge. There we go. Pop back in here with a little bit more of the dune. That's all fine. Okay, so some of the grasses are here, so I'm just drawing them in with my reservoir brush, and I'm just using a bit of this slightly opaque paint. See? And that will sit. It won't work over the light so well, but it certainly can work over the darks. Not too many at this stage, just following round. Okay, let's go up here, put some in. There's some through here. You can sort of get the feel of them already. I'm going to wait for that to dry, but I do want to put some lighter colours there. Mixing up my purple again. Ultramarine, dioxazine, umber. Gorgeous colour. More blue, I think. Just going to do a bit of like negative painting here. Just carefully and bleed it away. More blue. Wash that up into there. So you're just sort of very carefully drawing between the, as if there were grasses. Now mixing up my olivey green again. Oops, the one I want. Viridian and yellow ochre. I'm actually going to go in with not my reservoir. My reservoir brush is pretty good, but I think this little liner would be better for thinner lines. And even it's probably not quite thin enough. So you're just sort of flicking the pushing and pulling. Sort of random, but they're all growing out of here. Maybe I think flicking that way is better, it gives a finer tip to the... That's quite nice. Then there's some back here, but I think I'm going to make them a little bit yellower, more yellow ochre as they go back. These are more green and these are a little bit more beige. And they're shorter too. I hope my hand isn't too much in the way, it probably is, but nothing much I can do about that. Now this is dried enough where I can get some of that. See how that opaque just sits on the top. And you can get quite a thin line. Okay, so they all look a little bit staccato, so now you want to just soften some of them. A little bit of clean water, and just blend them a little bit back in, which I quite like that effect. Maybe those two. Don't want too many white patches going on. Now these ones in the front I'm going to come and, before I just put some of this more opaque over the top. Do through here, because you're just trying to subtly blend them into the give that feel of a lot of grasses going on. Okay, so I'm just going to dry all of this and have one last look, but just for a quick little beachside sketch, this coastal sketch, this is looking quite nice, so we'll just dry it and come back. Okay, this is the finished picture. I went on and did a lot more work in the bushes here, the little grasses. I didn't think that would be very interesting to be watched on film, but overall I'm very pleased with it. I think I've got the light and the dark, I've got the feel of it walking back towards the sea. So I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration. If you did, then like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Happy painting!